quickly. I've got a little bit of time. I've got like 40, 50 minutes before I've got to keep moving on with my evening. But I thought, getting so many questions right now about making income online, I just wanted to clear up a few myths. Actually, I might even change the title of this. I wonder if I can do that in real time. Actually, I don't know if I can. Yeah, maybe I can actually. Busting myths. I'm going to call this. I'm going to bust some myths. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to bust some myths on making your income online. So there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to making money in the online space that I want to talk about today. You know, for context, I have been deriving our income for the last 8 years online, right? So I'm definitely in a position to speak about this. I really do think anyone can go from what they're doing right now to making income online. G'day, Jason. Good to see you, mate. Let me take these headphones off for a sec. G'day, Jason. Good to see you. I'm trying a little different angle today. It's getting a little bit darker, so I had to throw a light on to light myself up. But yeah, good to see you. What's new in the world? Oz is done. Yeah, look, that video I made, that video I made yesterday sort of reinforced that, right? There's so many people that are just agreeing with the point that, like, what's the point? What's the point in going for gold? Like, what's the point? There's a good chance, you know, if Australia just keeps going down the path it is, it's never going to recover. And I think there's a lot of people that are really considering their options. And, you know, I've sort of coined the term for myself as an economic refugee. I'm an economic refugee of Australia. Can't afford to live there anymore, so go somewhere else. And that's what I want to talk about today. Is a lot of people that don't really get the concept. I don't know whether it's they don't get that it's possible to make an income online that's not scammy, that's completely above board, and it's not like selling Kangen water or doing affiliate marketing or something like that. So I want to just bust some myths today about you know, like what's stopping you, because obviously the biggest reason outside of health and maybe children, the biggest reason people don't make this plunge, even if it's just for a short to medium term, is because they're not able to earn an income while they're over here. And the only real way of being able to do that is by working online, unfortunately, because you're not going to be able to work in the countries that you live in. Like, we can't just work here in Malaysia, it's illegal. Whereas we work online, the government's quite happy for that to happen because we're not taking any jobs, but we're also bringing income into the country, which is really good. So yeah, how's everyone been, by the way? Hopefully we've had a good week. You know, obviously there's a lot going on in Israel at the moment, and Iran and Lebanon, pretty scary situation over there. The Ukraine, Russia conflict is heating up again. Just a weird time to be alive, right? But we do our best given the situation that we're in. And right now, today, we're safe. Who knows what it's going to be like tomorrow? But while we're safe, let's oh wait, actually, let me zoom this in a little bit. Let's try and there we go. That's better. Let's try and do the best we can. So, guys, so today's topic is remotifying your income, working out a way to make an income online that might suit you, suit your circumstances. Does anyone have any questions? Or what's everyone been up to? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, so let me talk about this for a sec. The reason I wanted to do this topic today is, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that just can't get their head around the fact that it's possible to make an income online that doesn't feel like, I think everyone's misconception, especially like a lot of people over the age of, say, 30 or 28, is that if you make an income online, you're somehow scamming people out of money, which is just not the truth. There is so many different ways to make an income online that is actually honestly quite astounding how much people are actually making in perfectly legit ways. So obviously, you know, it's a bit of a paradigm shift for a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that just, you know, are a nurse right now or a teacher, and they go, okay, well, how the hell do I become a teacher online? Or how the hell do I become a nurse online? And that's the wrong way to think about it. The way to think about it is that you are going to have to retool and reskill for the digital age. So if you're a nurse now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a nurse online. But what you need to do is you need to unpack what makes you good at being a nurse and find roles and opportunities that align with that. So yeah, that's the goal. That's what we're going to chat about today. The first thing I will say is, anyone have any questions? Is anything on people's minds? Is there anything people curious about? Is there any feedback on the videos? I would love to know more. So besides that, this week's been really good. Just been working on a program that I've built, help teaching people how to run digital marketing agencies. That's going good. And yeah, just spending time with the family. They're not here at the moment. They're in KL heading back. They should be back in a couple of hours. So I've got 45 minutes if anyone wants to pick my brains. Yeah. Also, the other question I had, guys, is what other topics of videos should I do? I'm kind of running out of ideas to do videos on. Is there anything specifically people would like to know about this adventure we're on? You know, I got the basics covered, healthcare, how we make money, how we do the schooling, but what else would people like to know? I was thinking of doing a video on like the destinations I would like consider if I was thinking of moving away from Australia, because we've been all over Southeast Asia, and there's definitely 2 or 3 places we would have really chose if we didn't land in Penang and decide Penang was the place. That's definitely an option as well. Actually, what am I doing this? Can I earn? So Paris has has asked, can I earn a good wage opening a barber shop? I can't survive in Queensland anymore. Well, you wouldn't necessarily need to be a barber overseas to, like this is that paradigm shift I'm talking about. Like, you don't have to, if you've spent and you've worked in a career in the brick and mortar world, you don't necessarily have to do that online. There's plenty of so many different ways to make money online that you don't necessarily need to do what you train to do. So like for me, for instance, I'm a qualified mechanical fitter. And because of that, when I first started looking for things to do online, I thought, I'm going to have to find some guy that wants a tech support or something. But then I realized that actually, if I just train myself to do something else that aligns with the digital space and the internet, then I just have to learn a new skill. And that's what I did. Eric, the Viking, good day. Yeah, good day to you too, mate. Hopefully you're doing well. But yeah, to answer your question, Paris, can't earn a good wage. Can I earn a good wage opening a barbershop? Yeah, I think can't survive in Queensland anymore. I want to talk about that for a sec, because it's something that I've seen a lot of. There is a lot of Australians struggling right now, right? A lot. And it's sad, and I suppose, one of the lucky ones that I could leave Australia because we were earning an income online. So it just it was more logistics than anything else. But, if you're staring down the barrel of having nothing, and no way out, so to speak, it can get pretty, look at my hair. What's going on here? It can get pretty intimidating. It can get pretty overwhelming, the thought that like I'm just slowly going under. So I think what I would say is that even if you were planning on staying in Australia and not leaving, getting a secondary income stream that's not reliant on the current job you have is not necessarily a bad thing. Whether that's digital marketing, whether that's just getting a remote job, it's better than driving an Uber around, firstly. And secondly, it gives you a bit of diversity, because if you were to your income was to slow down, or, you were to lose your job or what have you, at least you got a backup plan, a plan B. So Patrick writes, I live between here and Thailand, where I have a place on my own. Do you have any links that I could go to? Yeah, I know, Paris. I need to cut my hair, 100%. I've just been too busy to get a haircut, but I was going to get one this weekend. Do you have any links I could go to? Also found your video excellent, and your honesty and transparency is a big reason. Hey, thank you so much, Patrick. I wonder if people enjoy my videos, because a lot of the comments I get are hate, but I figured that the right people would see that. In regards to online work, yeah, I do actually have a link. Let me just bring it up. This is what I do for a living, and this is what I help people do. So let me just get this link up, and then I'll continue on. But yeah, I do need a haircut, Paris. The beauty about here is I can get a good skin fade, and like a skin fade tapered over, for basically like $8, $9. So that's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. The hardest thing when you're traveling though, and like in a place, is finding a good barber. Because I've had some absolutely shocking haircuts while we've been traveling. But yeah, definitely need a haircut. This is like a month and a half of growing my hair from a zero. So yeah, pretty crazy. Grows pretty quick. But yeah, going back to the videos, honesty and transparency. I appreciate that. Honestly, it's hard for me to get out there and talk about a topic that kind of bears my neck in a way. Like I'm talking about, I'm not an economist, right? So like I'm talking about just my thoughts and feelings about stuff. And I get people going, oh, why don't you talk about the Australian economy? It's like, I don't know I'm not an economist. I can't talk to that. I can only talk to my lived experiences. So I'm just going to continue to do that while people find it interesting. Zed Tech, would you ever buy a property in Penang or continue renting? I've actually thought about this. So one of the perks of living in Southeast Asia is that so why would you buy a place, right? Obviously, capital gains. You want the place to go up in value. That's the whole name of the game of Australia. Over here, it's different. The tenants that had this place last before us were here for 7 years and didn't have a single rent inspection. So a lot of people, they rent homes. They don't want to rent because they don't want to have rent inspections every 3 months. Here, there's no rent inspection. So you pay. As long as you pay, you're good. And as long as you don't do damage, you're good. Common sense prevails. So obviously, I don't see why we would buy a place here, because we're not buying for capital gains. In the complex we're in, you can't turn it into an Airbnb anyway. So there's no income there. There's kind of no perks to it. And the supply and demand is so much different to Australia. Like here in Penang, there's so many properties available for rent that you're not going to ever not find out. Like the place I'm in, which is beautiful. I mean, like, look at this. We pay like $180 a week for it. Was empty for like 5 months, which is absolutely crazy. But the thing was, before COVID, this place was, like I said, booked flat out. It's called a super condo, so it's an exceptionally large place. And they're designed really for Chinese families and expats. Like locals don't live in these buildings because they're basically 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom with a maid's room and a second kitchen, and so they don't have that. A lot of the local Malaysians don't have that luxury. But when COVID hit, all the Chinese that were living in these buildings went back to China. So there's no families to fill these buildings. Because if you're a retired couple, you don't want 2,500 square feet in 4 bedrooms. You want like a little 1,000 square feet, 100 square meter place that you can live in and don't have to worry about cleaning and things like that. So a lot of the people in this are family. The whole building's filled with families, and a lot of them are Chinese. So yeah, I don't think we would buy here. I think we can legally, but I don't think we would. Wow, for a haircut, barber, I charge $40 here. Yeah, man, you can get haircuts for like $3. They get paid very poorly. But this is an argument I'm going to make in a video at some point. Everyone talks about like the fact that, oh yeah, it's, but you earn more in Australia. You earn more in Australia, right? That's the argument everyone has. And it's a valid argument. You do earn more in Australia. I would much rather earn 20% less, or like the whole population earn 20% less and everything be 20% cheaper and everyone pay 20% less tax than have to earn more because everything's more expensive. That's what I tell people that move to Australia. It's like, yeah, look, you earn good money, but it's super freaking expensive. Like it's relative, like the buying power of that money you have in Australia is relative to like how expensive everything is. I'd much rather everyone earn less, pay less tax, and everything be 20% cheaper. All right. Can't even get a rental at the moment. I've been homeless for 9 weeks now. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Paris. So it's crazy. There is literally no houses available in WA. Like you can't even find a place. And if you do go to a rental, there's 50 people like applying for it. It's absolutely incredible how bad the situation is in Australia right now. And I think that's why so many people are tuning in, because they're kind of sick of it. Jason says here, rent inspections are so stressful. Glad I don't have to deal with it now. Yeah, rental inspections. That was the single worst thing about renting. I actually don't mind renting. It's just, yeah, the whole situation is out of control with rent inspections. I'd love to find out more about Malaysia My Second Home visa. Assume you're on a Malaysia My Second Home. No, actually, we're on a visa called a reintroduce visa. So DERANTAU. Effectively, it's called a digital nomad visa. So if you have a digital income and you earn income online, you can apply for this visa that allows you to stay for a year plus another year. So we can stay for 2 years in Malaysia, and it's like a Malaysia My Second Home. It's just not a permanent residence pass. So it's good for us because it allows us to stay for 2 years, and then if we wanted to apply for a Malaysia My Second Home, we could probably do that. But the 2 years is plenty. We don't know where we'll be in 2 years. Maybe we want to go somewhere else. Who knows? But yeah, the Malaysia My Second Home is actually quite difficult to get because the barriers are so high. You need to have, I think it's $160,000 US approved in a bank account to be able to get it, which obviously a lot of people don't have. But that's fine. This reintroduce visa, you need to be earning over 2,000 US a month online to be able to get it, which is definitely doable. For those who are interested in that, there's a link that I pinned that you can check it out. Okay, so next thing here. Thanks for your insights. We're making the move to Bangkok in 2025. Congratulations. Bangkok's amazing. Everyone talks about, Southeast Asia's third world developing countries. Like, yeah, just go to Bangkok, go to Busan, go to Malaysia. Definitely not for a third world country. How do you find the general social media and social demeanor in Malaysia? It seems like people are generally more friendly and accepting in Southeast Asia. Yeah, 100%. This is something that's super interesting. The general demeanor of the people in Southeast Asia is a lot more relaxed, even though they have more stressful lives. Face is a massive thing in these countries. So, it's like, I consider it rude if you say hello to someone, then not to say hello back. And they think the same thing. So as a face thing, they don't want to be treated like that. So they don't treat people like that. Malaysia is a good representation in Indonesia of what a Muslim country can be like if it's moderate. So Malaysia is a majority Muslim country, but it's not like Saudi Arabia. It's like moderate Muslim. If they're, it's hard to explain, but like the women walk around and they just have like colorful burqas on, but they don't cover their face at all. They're always smiling, they're always happy, they're on their phones and stuff like that. They don't care. Like in Saudi Arabia, I can't wear a singlet outside. Here, they don't care if you're wearing a singlet. You're not bothering them. You're not showing, as long as you're not like a woman in a crop top, they're fine with it. I wear thongs, as long as you're not bothering anyone over here, Southeast Asia is good. It's when you go and bother people or you're drunk and you're causing trouble that you really run into issues here. Love your content. Thank you, Jag. Appreciate that. Like I said, I always wondered if people were watching them, but it's nice to know that Australians are resonating with it. Not everyone earns a high income in Australia. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people don't. Well, according to my comments, every Australian thought that 120 grand a year is too little, but comments are comments, right? Totally agree, because the rental in Kuroi starts at $750 to $1,100. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I've been ruined by living over here. This is the fundamental problem I have now, is that we've been ruined by living here. We went back to Australia for 2 months last year. So we were away for a year. We came back for 2 months just to sort out my mom, and we had a sea container, like a container with some stuff in it, and we were house sitting. So we weren't even renting, we were house sitting. And I could not believe how much people are willing to pay for stuff here. It just blew my mind. Like, you go to the pub and it's $15 for a pint of beer. And it's like, why? At what point did we all just collectively accept that was okay to pay? It's like, it's just crazy. Like, I just can't get my head around it. Not now that I know how much cheaper it is in other parts of the world. It's very hard for me to look at Australia the same way. And that's the shame of it. It's like I'm kind of jaded after coming here. All right. So what's your thoughts about professionals working in healthcare and engineering sector in Australia with an income around 150 to 200K? Is it a comfortable and sustainable lifestyle? In Australia, yeah. Look, it depends on where you live. It honestly depends on where you live. Earning 150 grand a year as a family, it's like average income, right? It really depends where you live. If you go and live out of the cities, things are cheaper. When you live, like if you want to live in Melbourne, say for instance, within 10 kilometers of the CBD, that's probably not going to be enough. Whereas if you're going to live on the outer suburbs or, out in the outer ring, it's enough. WA is cheaper. South Australia is cheaper. Hobart's cheaper. If you live in one of the big cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, you're starting to push it. But can you live a comfortable life? If you're a single family, for sure. If you are not a single family, that might not be enough. But if you're a single couple, that is. Do you think Australia's current situation is a result of many Aussies being unaware of economics or acceptance of government's policy, or do you think everyone just cares about themselves? That's a fantastic question. I was only thinking about this the other day. I think it's just a blissful unaware. Like the pot boiling slowly is the why it's happening. There's a lot of Australians that don't want to think about it, right? They know something's not up, something's not right. They know something is not what it's supposed to be like. They know that how they grew up is not how it is now. But it's very confronting to face that and to dive deep into it. So a lot of Australians are just blissfully ignorant. They want to maintain the status quo, so they don't question it. As soon as you start questioning the status quo, you have to confront your demons, and you have to confront the fact that it's not as good as you thought it was. And I think that scares a lot of Australians, and it's easier just to maintain the status quo and maintain the groupthink that Australia is fine and we're all good, right? I think that's what it is, because there's no other explanation. I don't think it's Australians being unaware of economics. I mean, do most Australians have a good understanding of the macroeconomics of the world? No. But do they know what an interest rate is? Do they have basic economic education? Yes. Acceptance of government's policies is one thing. I think Australians are too accepting of government policies. But that is because, and I will say this, take it as a grain of salt, relative to other countries, Australia is a reasonably well-governed country compared to a lot of other countries in the world, right? You got to think, if the mainstream media feeds everyone this narrative that like Syria and Lebanon and stuff, and they're in crisis and everyone's hurting and in pain, and France is rioting and stuff like that, and you look out your backyard and it's birds singing and sun shining and you've got money, you got no reason to really question the government, I think is what it is. So I think that's my theory on it. I think it's just a blissful ignorance. But the problem with blissful ignorance is that it doesn't take much to ruin that. And if they're not mentally prepared for what's coming, they're going to struggle. Like most Australians are going to struggle, because whether they think it's happening or not around them and they've got their head in the sand doesn't change the fact that it's going to happen. I don't think anyone can dispute that right now Australia is just kicking the can down the road. To the Australian government's credit, them raising interest rates as much as they have is at least a sign they're trying to do something about it. Now, have they gone the right way around it about it? Probably not. They probably just they've kind of sped up the process of this recession happening and this depressionary cycle happening. But it takes a lot of balls as a government to raise interest, and and the Reserve Bank as well. It's not the government, the Reserve Bank, to raise interest rates. What is it, 13 times in a row, and keep them there? Because now you got the US that's lowered interest rates. Australia's kept theirs the same. So like it takes a lot of chutzpah to do that. Definitely the frog in the pan, just raising fines and taxes and prices slowly and consistent to your stuff. It's that. It's that. My youngest employee back in Australia, when the agency was back in Australia, she was 18 years old. And I had to pay her $27 an hour, right, as an employee. When I was 17, I earned $6 an hour. When I joined the Navy, I was on $11 an hour when I joined the Navy as a 17-year-old. When I left the Navy, I was on $82,000 a year. And there's kids that are working at Woolworths now getting $20 an hour. And that just shows the whole skewing in the economy. Like, and they need that. Like, I'm not judging them for getting $20 an hour. It's more just like, that's how much the inflation has crept up. Like, an entry-level income needs to be $20 an hour or $28 an hour, or whatever it is, so that people can survive. Whereas when I was 17, $6 was a good amount to earn as a $7 was a good amount to earn as a teenager. It's enough to get a beer or two, you know, down the pub, and it's enough to, you know, buy a choc milk and shit like that. So it comes down to that. Have you ever considered asking followers? Do you ever consider asking followers who are looking for online work to work for you, at least training and prepare for online work? I have in the past. The thing is, like my agency doesn't require much of my time. It's basically like 2 or 3 hours a day. So like I don't really have any positions for people in my agency because it's so process driven. But I mean, that's why I'm developing this program. Like I think that if anyone is interested in learning how to make like transition to earning an income online, even if it's just to supplement what they have, just hit me up. I was actually thinking, here's a float, here's a suggestion. I was actually thinking of starting a membership on the channel, $5 a month or something like that, and I'll do 2 or 3 lives a week on just making income online and helping people unpack that. If that's something you'd be interested in, I'm going to leave it in the as a community post as well. Let me know, and that might be a good middle ground, just so we can, like, the people that want to know about that stuff, I can kind of separate that content. Because right now I have this battle between like the content that I enjoy doing, which is, you know, vlogging, things like that, and content about our thoughts and why we left Australia, and then also the content about, you know, making money online, which is important as well. So Shazrat, hey, just want to say hi because I love your channel and I'm Liam's friend's brother from school. Oh, g'day, welcome. Yeah. Liam and Riley missed you guys at Oakwood, honestly. Yeah, it's, you know, Liam and Riley always talk about their friends at Oakwood at the school. Pauline, hello. That's my wife. She's currently on a ferry, if I'm led to believe. So yeah, but yeah, let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in, like a little membership, $5 a month, you know, and just like a couple of videos a week, 2-3 videos a week, where maybe I just cover up topics. I cover up, maybe it's $5 a week. We do like a Q&A, and then maybe I just do like a little talk about a different way of making money online each week, the things you need to watch out for, how you'd learn how to do that, how you could align it with your skills. And I was also thinking of making like some kind of like quiz that you could like say what you do, what your skills are, and it'll give you a rough idea of where to look for, like what kind of roles to look for. I thought that could work quite good as well. Paris would be up for that. Awesome. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I'll have to give that a bit more thought. I've only sort of just been, you know, thinking about it. Haven't really given it much more thought. But yeah, I definitely think that could definitely get some legs. What I'm going to do though, I just want to see if this works. I don't know if it will. Let me just see, because I'll do this next week. One sec. I'm just going to try something. Okay, let's see if that works. I don't know if this will work, but I'm just curious to see what happens when I put this up. Okay, let me see if I scan this. That work? I don't think it worked. Oh, there we go. No, it did work. Excellent. Very good. Okay, that's cool. There you go. Scan that if you want to learn more about making an income online. This is how I do it, by the way. This is how I do it. This is how I got to the position I am today. All right. Happy to stump up a membership. Where are we? Happy to stump up to learn about other revenue streams. Yeah, I think the idea would be just to separate the content, because not everyone wants to learn about making money online. But I also think it's super valuable that people do learn about that. So I think it just needs to be separated somehow, and maybe a membership a membership through YouTube would be the way to do that. But yeah, I'll make an announcement once that's online and going. All right. So next question here is, where are we? Where's my chat? I've lost it. There we are. Absolutely interested. Do I get a commission for giving you the idea? Hey, who knows? I'm always open to ideas. Future video idea: Penang nightlife tour, Malaysian government versus Australian government. Ooh, that would be a good one. I don't know enough about the Malaysian government. Maybe I might do an interview with someone. I think my next lot of content is going to be interviewing people like that, expats that have lived here for a while. I would love to do that. I think there's enough, and maybe I can find someone that knows the government well here, knows the government well here, and then maybe interview them, and then I can compare it to the Australian government. Thanks to income. Future video idea. We spoke about that. Services in helping people to move to Malaysia. Well, there is a link to that in a couple of the videos, just floating the idea. It's not really, just cursory thing. Happy to always help though. If you want to ping us on Instagram, happy to help anyone that's interested in learning more about this. Thanks to the income offer. Stick to my plan of dividend investing at the moment. Yeah. Look, it doesn't matter how you do it. You just need to have an income that's not derived directly from working a 9 to 5. I think everyone needs that because it's too easy to lose your job. Like, this is the thing that people are not getting their head around, is that, like, yeah, you've got a job now. That's amazing. I'm happy for you, and it's a really good situation to be in if you got one. But it's so easy to lose it, right? There's so many businesses that are going insolvent at the moment. The economy is getting tougher. If the economy slows down, what's the first thing that a business is going to do? It's going to cut its labor costs. It's going to make you redundant. It can make you redundant at any time. It doesn't need a reason except that they've lost a substantial amount of money or they're going insolvent. They're not going to cut their salaries. That's going to be the last thing to go. So, it doesn't matter if you work for a big business, a small business. Everyone's at risk of, including my business. My agency's at risk of that. Like, I could potentially wake up one morning and have lost some catastrophic event and lost some of my client base. The way I mitigate that, though, is by working with a lot of people in a whole bunch of different areas. I will say this, though, like, dividend investing is probably one of the few passive incomes. So, like, this is another myth that gets thrown around a lot in the digital space and making money online, is that, there's a lot of people out there that just want to make money without doing any work. And I'm just not a believer in that. Running a marketing agency is hard work. It's a replacement for an actual job, but it's a good way to make money. I think anyone that is trying to sell you a way to make money that is passive or doesn't require much work, you really need to, just be cautious about. The only exception I would say is like dividends. Like, if you're getting share dividends, that's different because that is probably the only thing that is passive. It's like you invest in a stock, but even then, it's not super passive. You've got to still watch your stocks and things like that. But yeah, just some thoughts that I had. All right, guys. So what else are we going to talk about? What else would you guys like to know? It doesn't have to be about remotifying your income or anything like that. It can be just about whatever. Happy to discuss anything you're interested in knowing about myself, my family, this adventure we're on, living in Penang, the logistics of leaving Australia, anything. It's the floor is yours, guys. So please, if we don't get any more questions, in the next couple of minutes, I'll probably end the stream. But I'm here to answer them. So please, if you've got a question, love to hear it. All right, so next question here is, what is your favorite? Oh, well, I've done something here. Sorry, guys. There we go. The next question here is, what is your favorite meal in Penang? That is a fantastic question. My favorite meal would have to be chili pan mee. So chili pan mee is is a noodle dish, handmade noodles, chilies. I'd like chili chili flakes and oil, some anchovies, some meat, mixed up with a boiled egg. Mwah, cheap, beautiful. And everyone prides themselves on making handmade noodles. So really, it's like an everyday dish here, and it's my favorite. It's my favorite meal. So the tax system for dividends in Australia is very friendly if they're fully franked. Yeah, yeah. I mean I think it's great and it should be like that, but it's a little bit like negative gearing. It's like only something you can take advantage of if you've got the money to take advantage of it. But yeah, no, look, if you can take advantage of fully franked dividends, hell yeah, why not? You know, it's an incredible way to move money around and like to minimize your tax. And earn an income without paying tax, basically. Because I believe that fully franked is where the company pays the tax on your behalf, right? All right. So how are the kids finding Malaysia, school, language? The kids love Malaysia. Our kids are very happy-go-lucky. We're very lucky. Our kids, medically are healthy. They don't really have any neurological issues. They're very outgoing as well. So like if they see kids playing, they'll just like join in or play next to them. So we're in our example, our next door neighbor, it has a child. The Chinese have one child, similar age to the boys. The first day we were here, they've made friends with them. They go over their place. This is interesting. I remember when I was a kid, I used to just go all over the neighborhood visiting friends. Now, in 2024, would you let your kids do that? No. Here, because it's a secure apartment, the kids just go up and down floors. So they've got friends on like the 8th level. They got friends on the 13th level. And Marvin, who knows everyone around here, will just take our Liam and Riley, and they'll end up at someone's apartment on the 13th floor. And it's good. I don't mind it. We just tell the boys to make sure you come back before dinner. And it's nice because their security, the complex has heaps of security, but like this whole building is full of families. So the boys have no issues doing that. In regards to language, I mean, we're trying to teach them Malaysian and Chinese as well. But, we struggle with it, so they struggle as well. Is it affordable traveling around Malaysia like a weekend trip to KL? Well, my wife has literally just gone to KL and back for a dentist appointment for our oldest boy. So to go from the ferry across from Penang Island to the mainland was 3 ringgit, so $1. And then the train, I think, was like $10, $20. And that's a 4-hour train ride. And then it's like $20, $30 a night to stay in KL, depending on where you are. So yeah, 100%. Like even a car, like we have a car, and to get it serviced the other day was $80, firstly. And secondly, fuel is 60 cents a litre here. So like we don't even think about the cost of running our car. If we need to go somewhere, we just jump in and drive off because fuel is so cheap. It's like, 66 cents a litre for 95 octane as well. And the reason for that is Malaysia has oil refineries. So they just, it's all local oil. It's local petrol. They have oil fields in Miri, which is part of Malaysia. They go to refineries in Singapore or here, and then the oil just comes straight out of that. So and there's huge subsidies on petrol here. So yeah, it's super affordable actually to travel around and visit and see things. If you don't feel like driving or going on the train, a flight from Penang to KL is $30 with AirAsia. So it's incredibly cheap. A flight from here to Australia to Perth is $250. That's how cheap it is because AirAsia is a Malaysian-based company. So their home base is KL. What visa do you use do you have to demonstrate you're not an Australian tax resident? Because I'm seeing the ATO has a ridiculous list of things to prove. So we're on a D-Retunau visa. So DERATNAU. It's a digital nomad visa, basically. So if you earn over 2,000 US a month online or 2,500 a month online, you can apply for this visa. It takes like 3 months, 4 months, but it gives you a year and another year. And then the Australian, this is interesting because this is, we're not a resident for tax purposes now because we have an address over here. So before we didn't have the address, we were still residents for tax purposes. We were just traveling around. We still had our home address there. Our business, it's easier for us to prove because we have a business in Australia as well. And, so we were able to prove that. But yeah, it's getting harder and harder. The government is making it harder and harder for people to leave, because if you can't prove that you're not a resident for tax purposes, you've got to pay tax in Australia. If you're a non-resident for tax purposes, any income that you earn that's not from an Australian source, Australia doesn't tax you on. But then any income that you earn in Australia is taxed at 30% from day one. So you don't get the tax-free threshold. The beauty about being a non-resident, though, is you don't have to pay the Medicare levy surcharge because we don't have access to Medicare. So we don't have to pay the Medicare levy surcharge, which I think is like $7,000 a person now. But we also don't get the tax-free threshold on the first $36,000 of our income. So it kind of evens out. But for us, it's not as big an issue because we do derive a chunk of our income from the US. So it's okay from that aspect. But we've got an accountant as well that's very versed in this because he makes a lot of money online as well. So he's very versed in like the residents and the testing for it and things like that. But we will, if we continue to, if we do decide to stay here for longer, we are going to look at moving our business, shutting our business down in Australia and starting it up somewhere else. Maybe in Dubai, maybe in the tax-free zones here in Malaysia, but basically completely detaching from Australia, so it's a non-issue anymore. How bad is the work culture in Australia? My friends say that it's really bad. I think that's interesting. I don't really understand work culture. I'm a dumb dude, right? Like I don't really understand it. I'm not that kind of well versed in it. I hear it's bad in Australia. I mean, a good example of that is it's bad anywhere in the Western world. Like, you only have to watch that Wonka movie that came out. Watch that with the boys, and they're like, what the hell is this garbage? Like, what's his name? Slytherin, the bad guy in the first one from the 70s. Why is he black now? You know, he was a white dude he was an English white dude in the movie from the 70s. Now he's some feminine black dude in this movie. I didn't understand it. And then, it's things like that. I suppose that's what it is. But like, that's not just woke culture in Australia. I think, I don't know. It's not bad here because it is a Muslim country. So there's a lot of modesty. Like, yeah, I suppose why I don't notice it is because it's not really a thing here. If anything, it's kind of too suppressive here. But that's fine for me because like I'm very moderate, so it doesn't matter. But like, if you're homosexual here, I actually think it's illegal. I don't know. I haven't looked too deep into that, but like you don't just see like pride rallies and stuff on the street here, or anything like that. I don't know if that's what you mean by woke, but yeah, these countries are different, and they don't care if you disagree with them. That's the thing. It's like they do it their way, and if you don't like it, you can leave and go to somewhere else, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. I play by their rules. Is your air conditioning on all the time due to heat and humidity? No, actually, the air conditioner in this office is on all the time because like I like being cool. So like I turn the air conditioning on all the time in this room, and what I do is you'll see that there's a curtain over there. I just close that curtain to make the room a little bit smaller. But the actual house, all we do is we open windows up and turn ceiling fans on. It's not that it doesn't get that humid if it's not super hot. Like some days it's like boiling hot outside, you close everything, turn the aircon on. But most of the time, if you just open everything up and turn the fans on, it's enough. Like it's not like air conditioned room, but it's not boiling hot either. It's just you kind of get used to the humidity as well. So like I when we first landed in Asia, every time I went outside, I would just start bursting out with sweat. Now it's not that bad. I kind of like 5-10 minutes in it and I'm starting to sweat. But you also like today, it's beautiful outside. So I really don't even need the aircon on. I just don't know where the remote is. So I can't turn it off. I turn it off at the wall. But the actual rest of the house, I've got all the doors and windows open. There's some cross breeze going on. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful today. But it also depends on the time of year too. So Jason, the woke culture in Australia is extreme. Yeah. Look, I can't really speak to that. I don't know enough about what woke culture actually is to pass judgment. But I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot actually. That the woke culture is pretty bad here. But again, I'm not one to speak to that. I commentate on the things I know, and that's about it. I don't have any friends in this. I don't have a what is it? I don't have a horse on the track to really pass judgment. But yeah, guys, I'm going to finish this up. Is there any final questions? I've just got to get ready. As a foreigner, do you have any property ownership rights in Malaysia, or is it a partial ownership? No. So if I was to get a Malaysia My Second Home visa, which is like the next level above where we are, which allows you to stay here for 10 years, then I could buy property. Yeah, you can buy anywhere too. There's no restrictions. As long as you got the green, you're good, from my understanding. I know in some countries like the Philippines, you can't buy property. Vietnam, you can't buy property. Thailand, you have to have a business partner. You have to have a Malaysia, a Thai person. But I think in Malaysia, you can own property even if you're just on a 10-year visa. So yeah, definitely. Like, because this building's got a lot of expats in it, and a lot of them are rented. So like they'll stay here for like 2 months of the year and rent it out for the rest of the time, or they've gone back to their home country and they just rent out their condo. So we looked at a condo in this complex, and it was owned by an old British dude that just went back to the UK because he was in his 80s. He'd lived here for like 30 years, and he just rented it out. So yeah, 100%. You can own property here. I just don't know at what point you can do it. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. I think we're done. I'm gonna go do some dishes before my wife gets home and fold some washing up. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Can you own a car and buy a car in Malaysia without being a permanent resident? Yeah, we did. That's one thing I know we can do. I was actually going to make a YouTube video on that because it was quite an interesting process. And the car is sick. But yeah, you can just do that. So yeah, we bought a car. We got this 7-seater thing called a Perdua Alza, which is a Malaysian brand. So we got that, and yeah, it was all fine. Showed them the passport. I think technically you're supposed to have a permanent residency, but no one seems to care. So yeah, just paid for it, transferred the papers. It's all in my name. If I go to sell it, so it's mine. So yeah. And in Thailand, you can buy a condo outright. Yeah, so I know some countries you can. I know some countries are quite strict on it though. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on. This was just a quick one. I might jump on over the weekend just to answer any more questions that people have. But it's great to see you all. I'm glad to see that the videos, people are enjoying them. And yeah, I'll do a little bit more digging into these memberships and see if we can't get them out of the way and done. Some $4 or $5 a month or something like that. And a few videos a week on making money online. Really useful Q&A. Yeah, please, next time, ask more questions. I'm going to be doing them more regularly because I enjoy them. As you see, I don't mind talking. But yeah, it's good. I think it's also too, I want people to see that what you see is what you get with me. If you're like watching the content on the YouTube channel, I'm no different. Like how I like none of that. See, the thing is, I watch back the videos and go, I should have said this. But literally, I just turn the camera on and talk. There's no scripting. There's no forethought to what I'm going to say. I kind of just think about something that I've been thinking about, and I just talk. So there's no script. There's no like dot points or anything. I just kind of like think about what I'm saying in real time. So sometimes I miss points or I misspeak. But as you can see, this is how I talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm also doing this to show people that, I'm a real, like, there's no difference, it's what that is there. The other thing I think will be interesting is I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some lives where I like look over some articles that are coming out of the Australian media or watch some videos coming out of the Australian media to give my opinion on them. Because I'm seeing a lot of things at the moment coming out of the Australian media that I have some thoughts on that may require too much planning if I was going to make a YouTube video. So I might do